The Texas Parks and Wildlife television series is funded in part by a grant from the Wildlife and Sportfish Restoration Program. Through your purchases of hunting and fishing equipment and motorboat fuels, over $40 million in conservation efforts are funded in Texas each year. And by Texas Parks and Wildlife Foundation, helping to keep Texas wild with the support of proud members across the state. Find out more at tpwf.org. Additional funding provided by Ram Trucks. Guts, glory, Ram. Coming up on Texas Parks and Wildlife.
You get that wax all the way around there. They always say the purple ones are the fastest. Wow.
It's exciting. It is hard work, but we get so much more out of it than what we really put into it.
Let me get that fish for you.
I'm gonna keep fishing until I can't crawl in the boat. It's just that simple.
My favorite story was Forgotten Borderland, and it was a story that really was pure adventure.
Texas Parks and Wildlife, taking Texans outside for 30 years.
My name's Wade, and this is what it's like to do some sand surfing at the Monahans Sandhills State Park. Ready? Let's give it a shot. Woo! Man, look at that view. You can see some jackrabbit tracks, and you can see the little beetles, the dune beetles. You get that wax all the way around there. You can rent these at the Dunnigan Visitor Center. They always say the purple ones are the fastest. Wow. We need elevators. Oh, mercy. Get too old for this.
That was fun.
That's what it's like, sand surfing at the Monahans Sandhills State Park.
Like most families, the Gibsons in Bastrop, Texas lead busy lives. There's homework.
I want you to read this one to me.
And homeschool.
Visual.
A busy management job. And lots of new words to learn. But a few times a year, the Gibsons take a break from their busy lives.
Nice.
And get even busier.
Okay, everybody all set?
They volunteer for the Texas Parks and Wildlife Coastal Expo. 3,000 kids come out over 2 days to learn about the natural world.
It's almost a little bit of an adrenaline rush. So you have your ride over there. Our main goal is to get them in and paint fish, not themselves.
And then you just pull the rope in.
I'd say it's probably about 60 to 70% of the kids that come through there have never either been fishing, they've never been to the coast.
Once you start learning,
Throw it out there.
not only yourself, but teaching other kids,
Who wants to go first?
it gets really fun. You can develop a habit of teaching people instantly.
If they don't show up, we'll get as much of your class through.
It's exciting. It is hard work, but we get so much more out of it than what we really put into it.
I absolutely cannot do Expo without volunteers. If we didn't have volunteers like the Gibsons, we wouldn't be able to reach all the kids and provide those first-time experiences outdoors. You know, their faces lighting up when they get to touch a crab or see an alligator or catch a fish for the first time. We've become very good friends over the years.
Good job.
So watching the kids grow up and become these amazing adults has been a lot of fun.
There you go.
They've learned how to supervise and how to be good leaders.
As soon as we have a wave go down, is pick them all up and wash them as fast as you can. I'm a very mousy person. I tend to be quiet and soft-spoken. Just a little bit. I think it looks awesome. I'm volunteering. I'm a completely different person.
And then you take it and throw it out. Look at that.
I get a lot more out of it than just sitting at a computer or Xbox for an hour.
Awesome.
I get 100% more out of it.
Olivia's first expo, she was 17 weeks. And this year's, she's participating. Or she'll go visit with the master naturalists and play with the tortoises, or she's learning the words of the stuff at the beach goodies table.
Do you know another word for it?
Kids are going to find value in what you find value in. If you're on the couch 24/7 watching whatever it is on TV, they're going to follow suit. We try to get our kids out, get them engaged, get them plugged into the outside.
This is what we do.
The Gibson family first started volunteering at Bastrop State Park.
It allowed us to really have that quality time with our kids. It's fun, it's purposeful, but we get to do it as a family.
So when Chad and Dorianne decided to renew their wedding vows, they returned to the park that held so many family memories.
Kind of figured that was fitting, seeing how that's where we kind of started all of this. It's really a part of the fabric of our family life.
You may kiss.
Every hour is worth volunteering when you see the kids get happy.
Awesome! You can't put a price on coming home and going, that was so much fun, that was really cool.
Working as a team brings our family together a whole bunch.
Just do it, don't overthink it. It's so much fun.
I fish for a living, yes, fishing guide. Well, I've been here since 1982. My wife also guides here. We fish together. We do a lot of stuff together. Pretty day other than a cold front passing through.
I met Mark about 1978, and the only reason I recognized who he was and everything, because back then he was known as one of the best jig fishermen in the United States. So he became my fishing hero, so to speak.
Oh, come on, quick release. Catch and release. There you go.
So it doesn't matter what we do, we enjoy doing it together, even after 25 years. Wait a minute. There we go.
Let me get that fish for you.
I got it.
My valiant and true client.
All right, do your job there, guide.
Yeah. Do the guide thing. Get the customer's fish for him.
All right.
There you go.
You go ahead and take it out too.
I'll take the hook out for you.
Would you fix my bait, please?
Yeah, I'll fix your bait. Pretty fish. See that tail not beat up? That fish just now coming in. I've really enjoyed teaching other people how to fish. We'll be sitting and talking in the boat, and they'll ask me about this rod and reel, this equipment. They can give you the product number, the weight, what page it's on, what all this, how fast this boat is going to go, how much it weighs, what kind of gas mileage it gets, and on and on and on. And I ask one simple question. It is February. The water is 45 degrees. Where are you most likely to find a fish? A bass fish, and be able to catch him. And the blank look gets on the face. I started fishing with my dad a long time ago. And after he died and I was doing the paper route, just kind of continued on fishing. And then I had a little time there that I didn't fish because I went into the Army, but the bug hit me again. And so in '72, I bought a bass boat and have been just doing it ever since. A big cold front had come through, and we were just going down the side of a creek. I reached down, picked up my rod, made one pitch in there, boom. Brought her to the boat, netted her, and that was it. I mean, it was just, what are you gonna call that fish? And I thought for a minute, and it just popped in my head, Ethel.
You just can't imagine what a fish like that was at that time. Even today, it would be mind-boggling, but at that time, it didn't look real. It wasn't real. In my eyes, it wasn't a real fish.
Mark was the first man to catch the state record at the same time that Parks and Wildlife was starting the Sherrilunker program. Everything came together at the same time, and I don't think, in hindsight, it could have been done any better.
And it just basically opened the floodgates for people to come to Lake Fork. Now people knew they were in here. The business has just doubled and tripled.
The lure of the big fish worked. It gave a lot of validity of a fish that big of what the Parks and Wildlife was doing to further the fishing in Texas and the big fish.
Hello, you beautiful fish.
Being on the lake, whether I'm catching or not, that's my happy place. And that's the same way with Mark.
Come here. Easy does it. And that's what we're out here for.
As far as me fishing, I'm gonna keep fishing until I can't crawl in the boat. It's just that simple. And I enjoy catching them. I like to catch them every day. When I can't stand up in the boat, then I'll quit.
It was 30 years ago that the Texas Parks and Wildlife television series, originally known as Made in Texas, got its start. Curtis Craven is one of more than 30 producers, photographers, writers, and editors who have contributed to the show since its first broadcast in 1985.
I'm Curtis Craven, and I was a producer with the Texas Parks and Wildlife television series from 1990 to 1996. My favorite story was Forgotten Borderland, and it was a story that really was pure adventure. It took us back and forth across the Mexican-Texas border, and we got into areas that to this day are pretty much unknown.
El Paso is one of the oldest towns in Texas. For the Spaniards, it was just another river crossing, a rest stop on the way to the northern frontier called New Mexico. The Pueblo Indian Revolt of 1680 pushed the unwanted Spaniards back to El Paso, where they stayed and built these missions. Like an urban oasis in the Chihuahuan Desert, people flocked to El Paso and its Mexican sister, Ciudad Juarez. To many, the Rio Grande is still just another river crossing, and the political boundary formed by this shallow stream is nothing more than a watery blur. Today, combined with Ciudad Juarez, this desert colossus has a population nearing 3 million inhabitants. As these two modern cities continue to grow, they remain isolated in many ways. They sit on the edge of a world that has remained unchanged for centuries, a forgotten borderland on the Texas frontier. Just around 50 miles downriver from El Paso, the main highways swerve away from the Rio Grande, leaving behind only a dusty dirt road that follows along the river. 18 miles or so later, this border road comes to a dead end. You've arrived at Indian Hot Springs. Now a private ranch resort, it has an eclectic history that includes Apaches, Buffalo Soldiers, H.L. Hunt, and Jack Nicholson. The area is rich with numerous flowing springs.
The great thing about it from our standpoint really is the remoteness of the country. It looks harsh, and it is harsh, and yet it's delicate too. The desert is always that way. There are critters and plants that you're not accustomed to because you're from a more lush part of the state, but there are a lot out here, and it's got its own beauty. It's a different kind of beauty. The air basically is pretty clean here. You can see the stars from one horizon to the next, and there are not many places left in America where that takes place. It's got its own beauty and its own calling.
Since the only road on the U.S. side ends at Indian Hot Springs, the best way to continue exploring the border is by crossing the Rio Grande into Mexico. Directly across from Indian Hot Springs is the small village of Ojos Calientes, also meaning hot springs. There's only a handful of people living here, and the closest store is over 3 hours away. Jesus Marmolejo, a longtime resident, crosses the river daily to work at the other Indian Hot Springs.
Yo nací en Bosque Bonito y de la edad de 6 años me vine aquí y aquí he estado toda la vida. Pues sí, está impuesta la gente al rancho. No hay luz eléctrica, puro aparatos de petróleo. Y no hay tiendas, no hay nada. Tiene que ir hasta por venir al mandado. Y si quiere tomar, tiene que ir al pueblo también, porque aquí no hay que tomar nada. Pura agua.
Leaving Ojos Calientes, you begin a drive that takes you into a desolate section of the desert. No houses, no trees, just a rocky road cutting through a wide expanse of no man's land. There aren't many signs of life here. The roads are rough and dusty, with few landmarks to lead the way. Every 10 miles or so along the road appear tiny settlements of adobe buildings. Always friendly, the inhabitants are willing to provide the traveler with general directions, advice on where to find gas or water, or information about river crossings. Nearly 50 miles downriver from Indian Hot Springs is a community called Emilio Carranza. Not really a town, it's a collection of families, a communal ranch established after the 1910 Mexican Revolution for peasant land reform. Among the families living here are the Salcedos. Evaristo Salcedo estimates that he has around 240 goats in his herd.
Pues nosotros aquí nos dedicamos a la crianza de animalitos. Son los que nos están dando la vida a nosotros. Y así, pues, esperanzados a que llueva para sembrar pedacitos, poco maíz, poca pastura, bueno, en fin, lo que se pueda. Ese es el modo de vivir de nosotros aquí.
Hours away from a doctor or clinic, the family can only hope that no medical emergencies arise. Last year, the nearby schoolhouse was closed. This was due to a government reassignment of the teacher who had been there for over 9 years.
Mucha gente se entere que aquí estamos, pues como quien dice, abandonados, ¿verdad? Entonces, a lo mejor por esto, pues nos puede caer más ayuda.
Just a few hundred feet from the Salcedo's house is a small footbridge that crosses the Rio Grande. There's no customs or immigration, and the residents use this bridge daily to get their mail that is delivered on the U.S. side. "15 miles down the road is another well-used ford. Known as Paso 18, it is here that the traveler, with any luck, can cross back into the U.S. Almost immediately upon crossing the river, there is evidence that you have left one world and entered another. This road continues around 40 miles along the Rio Grande to the small town of Candelaria. In Candelaria, the pavement begins again, taking you to destinations where running water, electricity, and supermarkets are taken for granted. In some places, the border separating Texas and Mexico has all but disappeared. Where exactly does Texas end and Mexico begin? To many of us, as we look at a map, the answer appears quite simple. But as you get closer to the border itself, the definition becomes blurry and confusing. Standing on the banks of the Rio Grande and looking towards the other shore, we can sometimes see into our own past, the mirror image of a place that has remained part of the forgotten borderland.
This series is funded in part by a grant from the Wildlife and Sport Fish Restoration Program. Through your purchases of hunting and fishing equipment and motorboat fuels, over $40 million in conservation efforts are funded in Texas each year. And by Texas Parks and Wildlife Foundation, helping to keep Texas wild with the support of proud members across the state. Find out more at tpwf.org. Additional funding provided by Ram Trucks. Guts, glory, Ram.